Hey all, good morning. It is Saturday, August 12th. I'm gonna do a little walk around. Things might be a little messy, but I haven't really been feeling good this past week, unfortunately. Had a ton of fatigue, and so I haven't been out and done really anything at all this week, except for cutting back some stuff in the kitchen garden. So you'll see the carnage from that because I cut it back, but I didn't clean it up. So so we're gonna start on the porch here because I want to talk about not necessarily these hanging containers. The fuchsia is doing really well. I don't know if these containers, well, of course the creeping Jenny is doing fine. I mean, creeping Jenny is basically a wild weed that will do just fine anywhere, but the fuchsias, we'll see how these guys do through the rest of the year. Honestly, I only have about a month left before my first frost, so we get hit by our first frost in late September typically around here. So if it's not necessarily doing great right now, it may not by the end of the year. But these hanging baskets, so these are the proven winners. Petunias, I cannot remember what the name of them is. Let me see if I can get one in kind of the shade so you can see the eye of it. It's got that little bit of pink in the center. There is Super Tunia, I know that for sure. They've done really well. They are starting to get a little bit wild. This one especially here, starting to get a little bit wild. And I know some people do cut their petunias back when they start to get a little bit wild and tired looking. But again, like I said, I only have maybe 45 more days of growth time anyways, so if I cut them back they really wouldn't have enough time to sort of reflush. So it's always a struggle with that for me because I don't know if I should cut them back or not. And we haven't had as I've said through all these videos, we haven't had much heat this summer. Today we're only supposed to hit 71. Yesterday we were in the 60s. So I'm just not, I definitely have already decided I'm not going to cut these back this year. I'm just going to let them do their thing, and if they start to look too tired, I'll feed them up a little bit more. You can see these fuchsia baskets from the front look really pretty. Let's see. Oh, the caladiums in the impatiens containers are starting to come on. They are so gorgeous. These are just ones that I got at Walmart. Everything in these containers came from Walmart. The impatiens came in little 6-packs, and I got the bulbs for the calla lilies, and then the bulbs for the caladiums at the same time, and did these all up at the same time, and they've just done so beautifully. I put the impatiens in there thinking, oh well, I'll have something in there until the callas and the caladiums come up, and I've really loved that mixture a lot, and I'll probably do something similar next year because it does take so long for the caladiums to come up. But they are gorgeous. And I also have caladiums, those ones that I thought had drowned, coming up in these baskets where the big begonias were. Now this is another begonia also that I got in a clearance thing this past month or so at Walmart, and those are starting to flower. I don't think those will get too big before the frost comes, and maybe I might even be able to take those. There's 2 of them. There's one on the end of the porch down there too. Take those in the house and have them for house plants for a little while. And I say for a little while because I am not good at keeping houseplants alive. Like, great outdoors, yay. Indoors, I struggle for sure. These baskets or containers are just beautiful. I've had no issues with these containers. They've been really low maintenance. The grass I started from seed, the coleus I started from seed, the begonias I got at, I'm sorry, these are actually impatiens. The impatiens, they're like a double impatient, I got at a local greenhouse, as well as these Proven Winners flowers. I also got a local greenhouse, and you can see these impatiens over here. They're really gorgeous, and these have just flowered nonstop since I put them in these containers in the beginning of the season. They're gorgeous. I haven't had to do anything special for them at all. I do feed these containers just the slightest bit, not as much as I would like the petunias, because they're just not as heavy, but they've done gorgeous. I've been super happy with them. Again, I'll probably do something similar to this again next year. Everything in the ground looking beautiful. This lungwort has really put on a ton of growth. This creeping, I always want to call it creeping Jenny, but obviously that's not what it is. But it is a creeper of some kind, and it's like a bindweed type deal. It just gets in everything on this side. I have to really keep up with it on this side of the yard here. But this lungwort is one that I got from the plant sale. This is Anna. This is the Anna lungwort, and it has put on a ton of growth. Really sturdy plant. It's beautiful. It's done well. This Brunera also doing really good over here. The begonias that I stuck in the ground here are just happy as can be. No complaints from them. We just had rain yesterday, so they're very happy. It's funny because when they were on the porch, they all had this sort of darker orangey colored flower, and these two back here have that darker orange color, but this one up front here, its flowers are much lighter. Let's see if I can find a good flower for you. You see this? So the color has changed. This one definitely gets more sun. It gets all of the morning sun, and the color of it is just more yellow with the corally orange color towards the fringe now. So that's pretty. There is a little impatient stuck under here too that I forgot I had put in this container, and it wasn't doing very well when I came out here and repotted it, but now it's doing just fine under there. The big show in the front yard right now is the Serendipity alliums. These are so gorgeous. This color is, it makes me want to put it everywhere. The purple is like so vibrant, but at the same time really soft. Not sure how to explain that, but, and all the pollinators just love it. The bees love it. The little, whatever these little guys are here, love it. The butterflies love these plants. It's so pretty to see a little butterfly perched on top of one of these flower heads. It's just wonderful. I really am enjoying those. And then the trumpet vine here, gorgeous, brings in the hummingbirds. So we get to see the hummingbirds every morning out here. And then this lily, look, this is such a beautiful lily. This lily last year, it was a bulb that I got in at Walmart. I put it in, and last year, really early in the season, had a deer come through. It ate parts of pepper plants, parts of tomato plants. It ate the new growth of this bulb. Just, I mean, it was maybe 6 inches tall. Ate it right down to the ground. I didn't think I would see anything come back, and this is just gorgeous. But yeah, that deer did a lot of damage in my garden last year. I just forgot about that until just now, really. It ate tomatoes, it ate peppers, it ate begonias that I had on the porch, and oh my gosh, that deer was all over the place in my garden last year. Oh, here we go with the bumblebee on there. I mean, all the pollinators are just loving these. Loving these. Alliums. Let's see what's new in here. The backlight phlox is starting to bloom. It's gorgeous. I'm loving it. Still got a little bit of color coming on with these phlox from Walmart. The I think this is the pretty pistachio heuchera is blooming. So pretty. Just gorgeous. I love these heucheras, really. The arborescent lace cap hydrangeas are doing great. The pollinators really love those too. I'm so glad that I went with the arborescent sort of native variety of these up here, because it really increases the pollinator action out here in the front. In the back, it's not as much of a problem because I have so many like annual type flowers like cosmos and things like that that the pollinators love. But up front here, I have a lot of more foliage type plants and then later blooming type things where we might not necessarily have had a bunch of pollinator action up here without something like that. And you can see, so these outer petals are they don't have pollen, but these inner flowers do. So that's where the bees and everybody else is just loving these. And they're gorgeous too. I really like them a lot, and it kind of sticks with the more foliagey, more foliage, woodsier kind of feel that I really would like to have out here. Some of the Love Parade yarrow is starting to bloom a little bit. These I started from seed and I got them in super late, so I'm happy to see some flowers coming on. This grass here is another Anna plant, and when I got this grass from her last year, it was done, and you can see all the sticks and stuff like that were left over from it last year. Basically, I just stuck it in the ground and hoped for the best, and so I'm really excited to see what the fall sort of grass heads look like on this. It has a great line, a little variegated line down the center, and it's very sturdy. So looking forward to that. Okay, so the Casablancas have opened, and for as much as these plants have struggled over here, I mean, you just can't beat that. These are absolutely stunning flowers. I mean, these with the serendipity alliums, ooh, I might put some of these together. They're so gorgeous. I love them. One of my all-time favorite lilies, for sure. Coming down this side, some of these little dahlias that I started from seed and I put in here, despite being beat to hell by these lugs and grasshoppers, are starting to put on some flowers, which is wonderful. And the dahlias I don't worry so much about. Like, as we start to get cooler, they'll do fine. I mean, they won't survive a frost or anything. Well, they'll kind of survive a frost, but they won't continue to flower after a frost or anything like that. And so I will let like at least one good frost hit, and then if any of these I want to save the tubers from, I will do that at that time after the frost hits. And then we have just a couple of the trilobas are really starting to put on some good growth here. We should see some blooms off of those before the end of the year. And we got another little bloom coming on here. And let's go into the back. There's a hose. I do need to mow. Like I said, haven't been feeling great, so I haven't mown, but I don't think that any of the pollinators mind. We have a lot of clover and stuff like that in this grass, so I guess as long as they're happy, I'm happy. Oh my goodness. So the porch looks great. Everything in the containers is doing beautifully. Just keeping up on feeding it. And yeah, I mean, you really, for container type growing of annual flowers, you just got to keep them fed. So the nutrients will come out of those really fast, especially if you're growing something like petunias in a container like this. You have to feed them. You have to feed them at least once a week in order to get like this much flowers and get strong, vigorous plants out of it. And these are ones that I started from seed. These are the Purple Wave from Burpee, and you can see that they do beautifully, even though they're not like a proven winners variety and haven't been started for me and everything like that. I keep them fed and they're gorgeous. They're giving me a lot of really beautiful color. They're filling these pots out, and that's all I can ask for. That's why I have them. So these little pon dahlias are doing great. I'm starting to see some with a little bit of double, but still that collarette shape where the face is open. Loving it. And the funny thing is, so I have other dahlias back here. These are the big orange, and I had one bloom come on. This particular one, it has another bloom head right here. It looks like it's getting some. Came on so early, and now another bloom off of them. Yeah, obviously there's some bloom heads in there, but it's just strange that they had that one flower so early and now they're actually more of a late blooming dahlia. So I mean, there are plenty of dahlias that take the whole season to bloom, but I just thought that I was going to see those earlier, since they did give me that one bloom so early in the season. Starchild, gorgeous. These little Rudbeckia, this is the Sahara mix. I'm pretty sure this is the Sahara mix. These are gorgeous, and I keep wanting to cut some for bouquets inside, but then they look so pretty here, I can't bring myself to do it. So that one did break, and I did cut the portion of it that broke, but I think it'll be fine. It's got some more growth down here. No issues. Lots of tomatoes coming on. We're getting to the point now where I think we'll be consistently pulling tomatoes off these plants every day or every other day or so, which is exciting. The little cucumbers, we've already had a good little harvest off of these to start some refrigerator pickles. See some down here, this little guy. They're all over the place in here. So again, the cucumbers are not complaining about the cool weather. This bed actually needs to be weeded. There's a lot of clover in here, but at the same time, there's also like these are snapdragons that I'm hoping I will see some sort of flowering off of here as we get into the cooler weather again. You can see this is snapdragon. It's got a little start going there. This is the lilies that I tucked in here, had some bulbs, tucked them in. And this is actually a sunray sunflower. So when I first planted this bed up for the year, I put a bunch of these in. And for whatever reason, this is the only one. But it's getting a little head on it. Those are from Burpee, and they're like a low, sort of bushy type, multi-branching. You can see it's starting to have some growth in its little armpits there. Multi-branching sunflower. So those are very pretty, and they're nice for a border. Would have looked gorgeous if that had actually panned out, but best laid plans. And then the hollyhocks have been just gorgeous for weeks now. They are starting to slow down on their flowers, but still really, really stunning to look at with how much height they've put on. I'll just try to give a little perspective here. I don't know if I can get myself, and I mean, these are really big. So I'm 5'3", and pretty much everything here is taller than me. The strawberries did have a little bit of a lull for a while, but they're starting to put back on. Lily's out here every day picking the strawberries, keeping them very clean. Enjoying that a lot. And this little... So this plant did have also like a yellow, or did I cut it from back there? So this is definitely like the... I want to say it was a cactus mix or something along those lines, zinnia, and I already pulled like a yellowy orange one off. Oh, I want to talk about this too. So I did have to bait the slugs. Unfortunately, I have had to, they've just been so damaging to everything that I did come in and put a little cup like that of cheap beer in every single one of the beds, and I did put them over in this bed too near the dahlias, since dahlias are really call to slugs a lot. And so I actually have to come through. We had that rain yesterday, so I have to come through and empty these out and refresh them. While we're here, let's look at the thornburn terracotta. Beautiful. Ooh, I think that one's very close to ready. So I do tend to pick my tomatoes a little bit early, just to keep the birds away. We do have a lot of birds around here, so which is good, but they peck. They peck at the tomato, and then it has a hole. A lot of these thornburn terracottas have that cat facing, which, as long as there's no rot with it, it doesn't really bother me. I'll just cut it off. But, hey, Lily. But some of them don't. Some of them are like beautiful, perfect tomatoes, and some of them have that cat facing. I wish you could smell this basil. Oh, that smells amazing. That's amazing. So good. Yeah. These cucumbers here, we've had a few off of these. These are so good. They're delicious. Really, really, really sweet, crunchy, no bitterness. Super yummy. Okay, so here's all the, I guess the sun is behind me now, but carnage from coming in and cleaning some stuff up. I did have some sunflowers that were ready to be cut, so you can see that there's a lot more space in this bed right now, because I took out a bunch of huge sunflowers in here that were ready to go in the house for bouquets. But that's good, because it's going to give this is Cafe au lait right here, the Cafe au lait dahlia. Those are very late, so those will come in for fall. Those are definitely a fall dahlia. And I also have them over here. can just see the start of a little flower head down there. But once these cafe au laits start, I've found them to be pretty prolific. So now the stalk is starting to fade. You can see I have cut some, but these three, this one, and that one, I'm leaving out here to do so I can be able to collect seeds. You can see the seed heads are starting. They kind of look like a very upright bean right now. I'm gonna let those dry out and use these again for sure. Little straw flower tucked in there. See, these are the thornburn terracottas over here too, and you can see this one has a little bit of blossom end rot for one thing. This one as well. But for the most part, those are pretty good tomatoes, so we should get plenty off of there. Squash is doing great. These straw flowers are doing wonderful. The white is beautiful, really beautiful. And have a great little harvest off of those. The zinnias may not be having a huge show right now, but that is because I came in and cut a bunch of them back for bouquets. I did cut a bunch of the cosmos that were getting a little bit unruly back as well, and of course I used those in bouquets. These cosmos, wow. Again, I will definitely use these again, probably in this area, in this front area along the beds next year, because they stay nice and low and the flowers they're lasting well on the plant. I haven't cut them to bring into the bouquets because they are shorter, but they last really well on the plant, and they're gorgeous, and they don't take away sun from other plants, because I do, you know, plant heavy in my beds. I don't want to just have a tomato plant or a zinnia plant or something along those lines. I plant heavy. I love the way the wildness, messiness, lushness of having so many plants in one space looks. It feeds my soul. So that's how I do it. Of course, everybody has their own style when it comes to gardening, so don't feel like you're doing it wrong if you're not including, you know, 5, 6, 7 different types of plants in your garden beds. But I do suggest definitely having flowers of some kind either in the bed with your vegetables or near the bed with your vegetables, because it does bring in pollinators and fruits. Not necessarily tomatoes, their flower kind of self-pollinates, so it shakes down, but things like cucumbers and, you know, your beans and your squash and those types of things, they need pollinators. So if your only thing that you're using to attract them is the flowers that are made on those plants, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, and you're limiting your harvest off of those plants, because you can be bringing so many more pollinators in with some really easy to grow annual flowers like zinnias and cosmos. I mean, bees love cosmos. When I come out here in the morning, early morning, before I would be making a video, but like 5 o'clock in the morning, the bees are sleeping inside of the cosmos all through the garden. They love them. And so, but you can see this cosmos situation, although beautiful and goes along with my wild feelings towards the garden, it is blocking sun to sunflowers and to my dahlia there, and some zinnias and other things that I have growing in here. So next year I won't go with tall varieties in the fronts of these beds at all. I'll go with that shorter variety over here. Yeah. The green beans are doing fantastic. They are getting right up the trellis. I love it. I love a full trellis of green beans so much. Yeah, it's beautiful. And ooh, I'm at 30 minutes. Okay, so I do want to just talk about these two tomatoes because they are much further behind the rest of my tomatoes, which I have like some tomatoes I actually have to come in here and restake them up because they're getting totally crazy and they're gonna break. But these are those Cherokee Carbons. I got these seeds from Botanical Interest, and the reason why these two plants are so much further behind the others is because I started them late. So all the rest of the tomatoes that are in my garden right now were started in April in my house, in a little pop-up greenhouse that you guys will all get to see this winter as I start my seeds. It was a gift from my mother, and I just set it up in my front room. And so all the rest of these tomatoes were ones that I started from seed in April. They had a really good amount of growth on them before I put them out in June. So beginning of June is when I put my tomatoes out. So they had 2 months of time growing in a greenhouse type situation. And these two I got much later. These I started in the house I think in July because I didn't realize that Botanical Interest had the seeds for this. I'd never seen the seeds for Cherokee Carbon before, so when I saw them I was like, I have to get them. And when I got them I had to plant them. So I did do just 2 seeds. They were a little bit more expensive than other tomato seeds, but these are really delicious tomatoes, so I would say it's totally worth it. And I'll have more next year. But these ones I wasn't expecting to get a huge harvest off of anyways because I had started them so late. I knew that I wasn't going to get too many. But considering, you know, that they've only been in the ground for like a month and a half, 2 months, not even 2 months, a month and a half, they're doing really well and they have fruit. And it's been a very cool summer. So I would say that those seeds are good, strong, worthwhile. And of course, I know that they're going to taste delicious because that is one of my favorite tomatoes. So worth the effort. All right, one more thing I want to talk about is these aster. These aster have done so well. They got totally neglected, like almost everything else that I started from seed this year, except for the tomatoes. Put in super late. They are just putting off a ton of flowers. No complaints from them at all. I cut them back when they start to get a little bit floppy, bring them in the house and put them in my bouquets. They last easily a good week. I am so happy with these. I already ordered more. More varieties of those for next year. So no complaints with those at all. And this little plant here is a feverfew that I got in late as well, that had started from seed and got in the ground late. So it kind of fizzled, and now it's putting on a ton of new growth. And I think we're going to see a really nice flush of flowers on this for fall. So that is fantastic. Okay. So now we're at 34 minutes and I'm trying so hard to keep these reasonable for everyone. So I'm just going to go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone who's been watching and subscribing, and I hope you're having a good time when you sit through these videos and getting a little relaxy time before you head out into your own gardens. Let me know what's going on in your gardens right now and in the comments, and we can chat. As always, tons of love to my family, and I appreciate everyone, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.